The first story is, it might be considered by some to be a little, a small story, not a big deal, something that you mentioned in passing. But I think it's a huge deal because it gives you insight into how fake politics really is. Okay, so here it is. Politico has an exclusive fed to them, of course, by FedEx because they have the documentation on it, on the American Conservative Union and how they operate. Now, this is one of the larger conservative groups in the country, and they pretend to be principled and take certain positions on different issues that come up in Congress, and they say this is the conservative position. Now, sometimes they'll take positions that we even agree with. For example, they said the real conservative position is to oppose the Iraq War. And I've quoted them about that before, and there's no question in my mind that they take some principled stance. But it turns out they can also be bought. In fact, they do this on a regular basis. So now, how do we find out about this? Well, what they were trying to do is, well, I don't know if you want to say blackmail FedEx. I think that's too strong a word. Hold them hostage. No. Again, those are too strong because FedEx is going to get something for this deal. But their principles were definitely on sale. So how did this work? There's a law right now that Congress is considering whether how unions are treated for carriers like FedEx and UPS. UPS have their different branches unionized branch by branch. FedEx has it on a national level. And apparently it costs more money if it's branch by branch. And they're considering passing a new law which would make it branch by branch. So now FedEx is fighting against that because they have a competitive advantage against UPS on this, and they don't want this law passed. Now, what is the conservative position on this? Who knows, right? I'm not entirely sure what the conservative or liberal position is. So David Keene, the head of American Conservative Union, thinks, perfect, we'll put it up for sale. He goes to FedEx and says, give us $3.4 million, and we will write editorials in your favor saying, oh, the conservative position is definitely that things should be unionized on a national level and not branch by branch. And in fact, he put out a statement pretty much akin to that earlier, and then they go to FedEx and say, that was kind of like their teaser, their appetizer. Oh, you like this? Okay, wait till you get a load of the entree. So, but on top of that, and here's what's important, and God, this is so devastating for conservative activists. They say, we have this database of sucker conservatives. We're going to go to them, we're going to send them emails, we're going to send them flyers, we're going to get them all excited, and we're going to tell them, if you're a real conservative, you're going to support FedEx on this. And we're going to get them so worked up, they're going to call their local senators. In fact, we're going to encourage them to go down to their senator's office. We're going to do X, Y, and Z to get real conservatives in the country. These guys who aren't getting paid the money, who have no idea the game that's being played on them, we're going to get them to go and lobby on your behalf. And these suckers think that they're part of this conservative cause. Meanwhile, it's all so the American Conservative Union can get paid. And they promise X number of emails sent out, X number of flyers sent out, X number of activists that they could rile up to this dumbass cause, okay? And FedEx was like, oh, $3.4 million, that's way too much money, right? So they haggle back and forth, and it turns out they can't have a deal. So David Keene goes, all right, well, then I'll go sell it to UPS. Nice principles. So once he sells it to UPS, they turn around 100%. And they say FedEx has put out things that are, quote, false and disingenuous, that they are misleading the public and legislators. These are the guys they promised they'd be on their side and write editorials on their behalf. And once they didn't get paid, they turn around and viciously rip them down. FedEx had a website called brownbailout.com accusing UPS of being bailed out by the government for whatever reasons that they had. So to respond to that, Keene writes in his letter, quote, to paraphrase the words of Ronald Reagan, Mr. Smith, referring to the FedEx chairman, who before was a conservative sweetheart, Mr. Smith, tear down this website. Okay, you see, they don't believe any of this stuff. It's all about the money, Lebowski. And if you're a conservative activist out there and you're like, oh my God, you're right, we need to lower the estate tax, and we need FedEx or UPS, whichever one is paying off the right guys. Yes, let's go get them. And you know that poll I showed you yesterday where 25% of Americans said the government should not have the ability to negotiate lower prices for us when dealing with pharmaceutical companies. You morons. That was all orchestrated by the pharmaceutical companies. And your so-called leaders in the conservative movement got paid for all of that to manipulate you. Why would you not want lower prices for drugs? Are you stupid? And it turns out, unfortunately, for these conservative activists, I don't know if this happens in the liberal world. Maybe it does. Look, I don't want to be naive about it. And I don't want to say that, oh, no, liberals are smarter than conservatives, and that would never happen. But it seems like it would be a bigger violation of the real principles of being a liberal or progressive. But I leave it open to possibility. But now we know for sure that the conservative activists are doing it. So, oh, God, next time they rile your ass up to go support something corporate, you're not the one getting paid, idiot. The guys who riled you up are the ones getting paid. And is it a matter of principle? It depends. Did FedEx pay him or UPS pay him? Okay, now you know how the real world works. Can't get enough of the Young Turks? Well, then subscribe to the TYT's YouTube channel. What's the matter with you?